I have the pleasure today of introducing you to Joy Isaacs. Now, Joy, we've known each other a very short time, but from the minute I saw what you were doing, I was astounded at something that is so incredible, groundbreaking, and really, really interesting for the customer to experience. Your attention to detail is second to none. It's absolutely incredible. And when I started looking at, when you told me about the brand, when I was fortunate enough to come to the shop in Notting Hill and experience the whole the circle and all the things that you do to help the customer choose fragrance, I knew that this had been a journey. But let's start right at the beginning of the journey, because way back, long time ago, you had used colloidal silver, or your mother had used colloidal silver on you and your family. Explain that to our listeners.
So I grew up in South Africa using colloidal silver. It was part of our family medicine cabinet. Silver is a very powerful antibacterial. My sister had used it for teenage acne, but it wasn't till later in life when I had surgery and doctors used silver mesh dressings for an infection I had in the wound. And this was miraculous in its healing. And from there, maybe a few months after that experience, I had a nighttime dream about silver in skincare. So that's where we started 12 years ago. And you'll see when we start to talk about the brand how fortuitous this number 12 is. But yeah, that has brought us to where we are today with the fragrances.
Obviously, gives the brand the name of ARgENTUM, which is Latin for silver.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. But but it's not, the brand is very, very clever. And the first thing I saw was the packaging, which I know that it's what's in the bottle that we like to know all about, but the packaging, again, it's very informative. It tells you about what the fragrance is on the packaging. But the attention to detail of the design. Now, I believe it was Sam Gray who was part of your journey and still very, very much part of your journey and your family that actually is instrumental in all of this design. But yes, how clever is he? Because inside, the visuals are astounding. Now, this is the one that I chose, but we'll go into how I chose it in a minute. But just look at that. It's absolutely incredible. And then you have a card that tells you about the one that you've chosen. And the reason I got this card is because here we have something that I think is so clever. I know I've been scribbling on it, so excuse that. But this is a chart which helps you identify about the fragrance that you might want to resonate with. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the chart? And excuse my scribbles on it, sorry.
Absolutely. I think we need to just fill in some dots to this, because we have the 12 archetypes there, and then we have the become. When we, in the inception point of creating the brand, people kind of look at brand personality energies or, archetypes. And for ARgENTUM, I really wanted it to have a holistic feel and for all of these archetypes to be a part of it. And then I suppose I came to the thinking that the ultimate person is someone who has things in balance, that maybe encapsulates these energies in beautiful, perfect balance. And none of us do, and we all strive to achieve that. So as a nod to beauty within, we would put an archetype card with each of our skincare products that would come at random. And the archetypes became a real important part of the psychology of beauty within the skincare. And we had worked with Delphine Thierry, our perfumer, to create the original fragrance, which is our signature scent in our skincare. It's called Become. We briefed her with the elements of fire, air, earth, and water. It needed to mimic what our patent does, and be a kind of unisex, all skin types and ages. And she did a fantastic job. But it was the last 7 years, there's been this journey about bringing this Become as a fragrance, but the 12 archetypes, devising their scent at the perfect energy pitch of that particular archetype to kind of complete this 12 become one. So I think that help you with the jump from skincare to fragrance, and this wheel that you showed us, we've divided into the elements of fire, air, earth, and water, because we just think that's such an easy way for people to kind of imagine the type of fragrance they'd like to express. You know, when we're talking about a fire fragrance, we're going to go into more spicy territory, for example, or where there's the earth, that is more woody. And of course, there's such a wonderful crossover with things.
And also, some days will be fire, some days will be water, some times of the year we'll have different preferences of what we want to do. And I was astounded because I actually took Ruler, which was not a fragrance that in theory I would have chosen, and I love it. But also when I do wear it, let me just show you the bottle. Very simple, sleek, sophisticated bottle. There's a talisman at the top that I can't show you because I've left mine in London, but maybe you could show people the talisman that you've got, Joy, so that people can see what it is, and explain the significance of the talisman.
So I'm wearing the Become talisman. The Become talisman is the signature scent, as I mentioned. It is all of the elements, and this is the actual card for that. It's the imagery of the salmon. It depicts the life cycle of a salmon, where they can complete that circle. It's very much a balanced card. It's an arrival card. I didn't focus too much. Sometimes I allow the cards to be drawn to me. Like you said, you wouldn't have naturally moved towards the Ruler scent, but it was drawn to you in an unusual way for you to express that particular energy within yourself. So I know we like to pigeonhole and we like to say, I'm this, or I'm the rebel, or I'm that. But I think what's so fun, and you can absolutely do that, and that's just reinforcing the expression that you're very sure about. But sometimes we want to tap into something a little bit below the surface, maybe something that needs balancing, maybe something that needs healing, or something that you weren't conscious of that you'd like to express.
Well, I find it interesting because it's about communication, and that's what I do. Alice and I at the Perfume Society do all day, every day, is communicate about perfume. And then when I got the fragrance, another wonderful surprise was when I sprayed it, because when you spray a fragrance, it's one thing spraying a fragrance, but it's another thing when you spray it in your hand and it looks a little bit milky. Now, for me, I thought, oh, and then I rubbed it in, and you can actually feel the benefits, if you like, of the moisturization of the fragrance on your skin, and you get the fabulous fragrance at the end of it. Interesting way to wear fragrance. Really, really fabulous. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, we first and foremost, we started with skin, and skin is just the largest organ. It's so important. We then looked at the psychological side of skin, and it just didn't feel right using an alcohol carrier. We explored this new technology of water plant emulsion, which is a combination of oil and water with fragrance to form fine micro emulsion, which you see there. It's a milky fluid. It is very soothing. It has some skincare ingredients within it. It's actually registered as skincare, but it is a long-wear eau de parfum. So we're kind of in the fragrance and skincare realm, but you can spray it onto the skin and the hair, and that's going to have little to no effect or impact on the microbiome of the skin and the health of your skin and hair. So that story felt right for us to kind of pull those two together.
Yeah, for me, it was the beautiful element of everything about it coming together and finally, not only does it smell great, but it actually does you a little bit of good at the same time. So it works well, really, really well. So I was the Ruler, and it was a floral spicy. And then when I thought about it, yeah, it is very much me, because I changed from floral to spicy. I mean, I wear all the fragrances because you can usually pinpoint something in it that you can resonate with. And that's what you're trying to do with getting the beauty of it and the balance. Beauty and balance together is almost your philosophy, isn't it? To make it perfect and satisfy a need that we're maybe not even aware we're looking for. So can you give us a little bit more about the archetypes and kind of who's the air and water, etc.?
Absolutely. We've divided this wheel, and I see you kind of had it up. It's quite nice to sort of see it in visual in front. So we've kind of included it in every box. We've also used not just the archetype energy meaning, which you will find on the box, but I think, archetypes are primordial images of the collective unconscious. When we think of a hero, I think everyone would describe a hero personality type as the same, or a caregiver, for example, and as you go on through the different archetypes. But we've added a layer of numerology, which is quite fun. Some people really connect with numbers and how that feels. We've added an element. And by no means are these archetypes fixed within that element, but it is a good kind of play within leading more towards that side. So in the fire, we have magician, hero, and rebel. So these fragrances, they have a fiery feel to it. The rebel is a revolution. That's like going through the fire. That's about evoking change. Whereas the magician's similar thing, transformation, albeit in quite a different way. And the hero as well needs to go on a journey. So those elements are more fiery. Where you get then into the creator, sage, and ruler, these are more air. These are the mind, creativity, thoughts. This is the feeling of air. When you come into earth, it's everyman, explorer, and caregiver. These are very grounded energies. For the jester, innocent, and lover, these are water. Water is emotion. So when we think of running water, we think of full moon, which brings up a lot of emotions, and you think of the pull that has on the tides and the planet's water and the water within our bodies. So again, these are things that people might not think of, but on a subconscious level, they have an understanding when they see the symbology.
Joy, I believe what you have done is tried to explain the fragrances if we're looking online, or if you can't manage to get to the lovely shop where you have a wonderful experience in Notting Hill. You describe it so that people can relate to it in different levels, whether it's the archetypes, whether it's the numeracy, whether it's the signs. It's interesting that you've tried to think about how the customer can find you, but at the end of the day, what I would suggest is people can try, if they can, with your try me sets, or go into the store, because it has to be smelled to be believed, and then you can have a whole personal experience by looking at the wheel, turning around, seeing what resonates you, to finally get your beauty and balance all together.
Absolutely. I think with the brand, there's or with the fragrances, there's an element of expression. So you hook onto an archetype because it's something that really resonates with you, and you don't even have to go much deeper. The fragrance is going to smell like that archetype. You're not going to get a shock and go, oh, I don't think that smells like a hero. You smell it and you go, absolutely. So if that's what you're after, that is there for you. But then there is another journey. There is the journey of which card will be drawn to you. And maybe on a subconscious level, you didn't realize that there was something that you could express or explore. And so we have done these discovery kits. We have the full collection. And then we've also broken down into fire, air, earth, and water. The fragrances are unisex fragrances, but some are obviously more predominantly masculine or feminine. It can flow between that. But what we find is we find very masculine men who actually can wear and work with the feminine fragrance really well. And it's just more about the energy of that. So some people will say, I would like to just narrow things down and look to just say a water fragrance. This is more the space that I'm comfortable in. And some people are very sure about the type of ingredients that they are looking for in a fragrance, and the ones that they are more comfortable with. So the kits are broken down into the elements, and then also the full set. So there's lots of routes into the exploration that comes.
I know. Well, let's do another session on the discovery sets. But thank you for today, because I myself experienced a deeper level of understanding of the fragrances by choosing something I thought I didn't know that I would have liked. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me today.
Lovely to speak to you. Bye.
Bye.